Martin Schirenc of Schirenc Plays Pungent Stench and formerly of Pungent Stench. Welcome to 69 Face of Rock. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm doing great.
Excellent. Tell me about Schirenc Plays Pungent Stench. How did this come about?
Well, this came about in 2013, when friends of mine who live in Turkey asked me to maybe do a show with, you know, other musicians and play Pungent Stench songs in Turkey. And when I did that, I kind of got into it again, and then I felt like I'm going to do my own Pungent Stench version. There was actually some interest after that. Other promoters asked if I could do this too, and so yeah, that's how it started.
So did you notice there's still a lot of interest in the band?
It is, yes. Luckily, luckily it is.
I guess the next question will be, is there any chance of the actual Pungent Stench ever coming back?
Very low chance.
Very low chance.
I would say never say never. You know,
we'll get to that. And why couldn't you actually work under the name of Pungent Stench with new members?
Because the name is owned by both me and Alex, our drummer, former drummer, and he doesn't allow me to use the name alone, so I have to do kind of a suffix, so it's clear that it's not the original band. Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, you have the sound, you are the vocalist and the guitar player.
Well, the music is the same.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Let's talk history, right? How did Pungent Stench originate?
We had a band. Let's say, Alex. And I met Alex in I think in '85 or '86, something like this. And he had a band, I had a band. Both we shared the rehearsal space, and I helped out with their band as a second guitar player for live shows. He helped out on drums because I hardly ever had a drummer. And in '87 or something, both bands broke up because members would, move on and or join the army or whatever. So it was basically Alex and me left, and we decided to do something because we shared a musical taste, and that's when Pungent Stench was born. It took a few months maybe until we found Jacek, the bass player, and we started. I think first rehearsal was like in January '88 or something like this, January, February. So.
What kind of scene did you have in Austria? I mean, Austria isn't known for a country with a lot of metal bands.
There was no scene.
And so, how did you get going?
There was no scene. That's the thing.
Anyway, the Chicago train.
Austria did have. It was a very backwards country, to say the least. I mean, there were some hard rock bands, like traditional hard and heavy metal, and a few punk bands and some other stuff. But there was no scene, so basically we had to do everything ourselves. We did our shows, and we mainly worked in the punk rock scene, squatted houses and this type of stuff where we rehearsed and also did shows from other bands.
How would you describe the individuals that made up Pungent Stench at that time?
I don't know, how would you describe them? I mean, we just like-minded friends, We met because we had the same interest. We liked to play music, we liked certain types of music, and we got along good, so just kids doing kid stuff.
That's right. So you did a demo back in '88, and then a year later you did a split album with Disharmonic Orchestra. How did the music world react to you after that?
Oh, very good, actually, very good. I mean, the demo was just a rehearsal demo. We just had a ghetto blaster and we recorded, I think, 5 songs. Those made the round, with the tape trading back in the day and stuff, and some fanzines would pick up on it and then send us interviews. Then before we did the split LP, we hitchhiked to England and recorded. We wanted to record a studio demo at the Birdsong studio where Napalm recorded their second LP, and there was a bit of a problem because we didn't take the master tapes home, and he accidentally deleted them, or the mix he had to remix it, which was not to our satisfaction. So we didn't really do anything with that recording until Nuclear Blast released it as the Extreme Deformity 7-inch. Mm-hmm. But it made the rounds as well, you know. He sent some friends and whatever, and then we did a show in Germany, and a guy from Nuclear Blast, Slatko, was his name. He's unfortunately not with us anymore. He came by and asked if we were going to do a split LP with Disharmonic for Nuclear Blast Records. That's how it came to be, and then we did it, and then got another record deal for.
Did you get recognized in your own country, Austria?
First, not so much.
No.
First not. I mean, there was a radio show by a guy called Werner Geier. He had it was called Music Box, and he was into all kinds of underground stuff. He was he liked the Swans and this type of stuff, and he kind of saw the potential that we had because it was something fresh and new, and he was a bit in. You know, promoting us, but other than that, we were known outside of the country before we were known inside.
So by 1990, Forgot Your Soul, For Me Your Flesh comes out. You want to show it? Right? And the band really takes off, right? What do you remember about that album and that time?
Oh, there was recorded in Germany, at the same studio. Where we recorded the split LP, but it was the guy moved. It was a different place. It was bigger and nicer. Yeah, the recording was a bit of chaotic. I think we had 10 days, and it took us 9 days to record, and then we had a day to mix. I wasn't really happy with the mix, and when this came out, yeah, I don't know, man. It was the beginning of this whole death metal hype, I guess. There was a few bands already were around, you know, like Death and Obituary, and I don't know, maybe some other bands. But it sold a lot, you know. It sold a lot all of a sudden. We were able to tour everywhere, and was not what we expected when we started doing this music.
30 years later, how do you rate that album?
Still, I think it's my second favorite one. The favorite one being called Buttering.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get to that next, right? So a year later, Been Caught Buttering is released. Where's the band at mentally? You wanna show the album again? Yes. That's right there, right? That's the one.
Well, I mean, we kind of, you know, we kind of found our sound and maybe our image and everything, you know, and we started to move a bit away from the grind influence, while having having a lot, starting with influences from 70s heavy metal, you know, Sabbath and maybe St. Vitus, you know, like a bit of doom metal in it, and made a bit of that rock and roll thing is already sneaking in a bit. So I think it was a very diverse album, style-wise, and which I don't know, which was probably the way we approached things back then. It's a long time ago.
How would you explain the artwork? If you want to show it again, the artwork, and tell me exactly what is it we're looking at, because I have my ideas, but I wonder what drove you.
The artwork is you're looking at a split in half head.
Uh-huh.
Of a deceased person. I think it was split in half for study reasons, you know, for medical students to study the anatomy of a head, and the artist Joe Peter Witkin, I think he had contacts in hospitals and whatnot, so he could borrow limbs and body parts and everything, and he put this together to make it look like a kiss, like two guys kissing, but it's only really one. If you would turn it around, you would see the inside of the head.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Gnarly.
At first, when I saw this, I'm thinking about like old communist leaders when they would visit each other, how they would always embrace and kiss. And
the funny thing about this album is he had a lot of theories around the cover, you know. So it's the one with the where you said like with the communists like Brezhnev and
that's right.
they used to kiss each other like this, and they were all guys. That's what a lot of Eastern German people said. Like, is this Erich Honecker and Brezhnev? It's like, well, could be, no. Others again said like, is there a homosexual undertone, you know?
Okay.
Because of the buttering and two guys kissing, and there's like, well, maybe, you know.
See, I'm Polish and I lived in Poland during communism, so my first connection was that what I would see on TV.
I was surprised you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
That's why. So at this point, your image is very well developed. How would you describe it? Because you are way different than all other grindcore or death metal bands. I mean, you had something different going on.
Yeah, well, because I think the difference was, I mean, probably our influences, and we were always like trying to not be like everybody else, you know. There was a thing that we tried to avoid, you know. We were always Nuclear Blast used to always try to talk us into, you know, go to Morrisound or go to this, and we're like, no, we don't want to go there. We want to produce our own albums. They might not be as great sounding because we don't know what we're doing really, but we do it our way, and that was the most important thing, you know. And lyrically, we like to take the piss out of everything, you know. We didn't really, we loved the music. We were a bit, I don't know, when it got so dead serious, you know, all the Satanism and some of these bands, you know, this tough guy thing, it was cheesy, you know. I mean, it's rock and roll.
You had a lot of sick humor in there.
Yeah. We tried to make fun of everything, including ourselves. So that was probably our special thing that we did, and that actually was probably also why we stuck out, and that's why we're still doing it, you know. So
why even the name Pungent Stench? What's the origin of that name?
Oh, I think, as far as I know, it came to play. That we had a show booked, we didn't have a name, and Alex and I were shooting ideas, you know, around, you know, everybody had some words, and I think the combination came together, and we liked the meaning, and we liked the sound of the word, of these two words, of the band name, yeah. So also nothing, a lot of things happened by accident, so there's not much thought put into it, so.
In addition to that, you also had stage names. Tell me about those.
Oh, well, we were always fans of Venom, and Venom had these names, you know, and not only Venom, but it was an 80s thing, you know.
Sodom.
Yeah, you have this ridiculous names, and so we went with that and got our own ridiculous names and stuck with it. Yeah.
Staying on topic, Dirty Rhymes takes your sick sense of humor even further, right? You want to show this? What was happening at this point in the game?
So this is a censored version in here. I don't know. Can I show it?
Yeah.
And the idea behind this album was, I think, Nuclear Blast wanted us to do an EP or something like that to bridge the gap between the Nico Buttering and the next album. So we were recording two new songs, I think. Then there was the re-recorded. What was it on this anyway? Oh, it's Blood Pus and Gastric Juice. We had to re-record this because when Forgot Your Soul was released in America, they wanted a remixed version, and 2 songs were lost because tape was deleted and all this jazz, and so we had to re-record 2 songs, I think, and on this one too, I think, or at least one is. Then we did a cover version of a Mentos song, and what else? I think, oh yeah, and there's a very strange techno or whatever you will call it version of Blood Passing Gastric Juice. So it's an oddball, but it does have only 2 new songs that are very rock and rollish. So yeah.
Next we have Club Mondo Bizarro from members only. What were you exploring with this record at this point?
I don't know. We did a lot of the lyrical stuff also with sexual themes, especially S&M and all kinds of other depraved sexual practices. And we even went to a dungeon, to a dominatrix's place to take all these pictures. So there's all real the woman in it. She's an actual prostitute, and I think we did try to make it a bit more, I don't know, more groovy. It's not a very fast album. There's hardly any fast tracks, if there even is. I'm not sure. I've listened to this a long time. So it's a very, very groove-oriented album, and there's not much, I think, death metal type of either music or lyrics. So it's a bit of a change. Not everybody liked it. Some people like this album the best, even, you never know.
Everyone's got their favorites. Yeah. Now, after this record, the band split up. What happened?
We did extensive tours, and it has worn us out, and we were tired of each other and everything. So we called it quits, and everybody went his own way for a couple of years. I did other stuff, and Alex did other stuff. Jacek didn't really do any musical stuff. So yeah, that was basically just tired of it.
But that was not the end. By 2001, you came back, right? Yes. This time without Jacek, yes. But you had a new album out. So what happened to Jacek?
Well, Jacek was not into music. He had all kinds of other stuff going on. I'm not getting into this, but he was pretty much out of the loop for 20 years or so. Something like that.
Who did you bring to replace him?
We brought a guy named Mario. He was the bass player for Belfegor at the time. And we asked him if he wanted to join, and he did.
Okay. Out of that union comes Masters of Moral, Servants of Sin. You want to show it? And tell me your thoughts on this album?
This album was it's a bit of a love-hate thing with me, because it's a bit of an unusual album. Well, I mean, most albums have a change, but this is a bit unusual because, in my opinion, what I'm criticizing most of it is the production. It's too clean for my taste. It's a good album. It's very thrash metal oriented, maybe. So a lot faster again than the Club Mondo Bizarro album. The main topic maybe was this church scandals during the day, you know, where the Catholic Church had all these pedophilia cases, and also tried to, you know, kind of play it down or just cover up for it. So we did the whole concept of the cover artwork is us being dressed up as priests. With, I think, we did take some.
This even comes with a prayer inside.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is very much clerical, and then we have we had a hearse even, you know, and children, rented children from friends and sister, so we could have this very creepy kind of images, you know. They're nothing really special, but I mean, in the connection with all these scandals, this one especially, by the way, we walk into the forest with this little girl, you know, as a priest. Harmless at first, but then with the background it gets a bit like ugh. So yeah, that was that album.
Did you ever get into any trouble with all of those images? Because some of them are very provocative.
We did have problems. The images, not so much. We did have problems.
Not just this album, but many others.
Yeah. We did the For God Your Soul and Club Mondo Bizarro are in Germany they were banned. There's an index, you know, where they put on music that isn't suited for either isn't suited for young people or basically Nazi bands, you know. So that are because in Germany as well as in Austria there's a law you cannot show swastikas and you know this type of stuff, and right-wing bands or let's say Nazi bands were on this list, were not allowed to be sold, and some death metal acts like I think Cannibal Corpse had probably problems too. Then we had problems in '93 when we went to Australia on the first tour. That Binko Buttering album was banned to sell there, and yeah, that was basically pretty much it, I guess.
Also, like I think during that time you had a side project called Los Tres Hombres, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That was a cover band. You know, we were playing a lot of covers when we were not playing our stuff. So we did. A friend of ours had a little festival. It's a very small thing at a bar. He wanted Austrian punk bands to play a show and then make a compilation album. He asked us, and we said we can't do it because we have a contract. We cannot do this, but we can do a cover band. We called it Los Tres Hombres because we did quite a few CC Top covers, and one of the albums is called that. And this kind of like became pretty popular. So we would play parties, and we played pretty much everything. We played a lot of 70s disco stuff as well, and contemporary pop music and anything that came to mind. We didn't really learn it. We learned it by ear. So it's a very
wow.
a very pungent version of the songs, you know. And we did this for years. We even did it on some tours where we did like an extra show where we played only Los Tres Hombres songs. We did put some of the songs into the Pungent Stench set. You know, we did Kiss covers and Guns N' Roses and I don't know, all kinds of stuff.
Staying on topics of projects, you also had a project with members of the Mentors, right?
That's true, yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Steve, or Dr. Heatenscum, the only remaining member now, he's an engineer. He's traveling a lot, and we met him in '93 in LA the first time, also Duce then. And when he came to Austria, he visited us, and I had a studio, and we were thinking like, record stuff. I mean, why not, you know? So the whole thing, I think, came down to like 2 visits in Austria when he was traveling professionally, and then yeah, but it was just fun. It was a mix of Mentor. It sounds a bit like a Mentors album, basically, you know, and with all lyrics about his trip of Europe, also in of course in a Mentors way. So basically, it's all about sex and drugs and rock and roll. So it's a fun album.
So 3 years later, Amputee comes out. You want to show Amputee? And that kind of feels more like Pungent Stench again.
Oh yeah, that does, because I think one mistake that we did with releasing Masters of Moral is because we got back after 7 years and we started writing an album, you know, and of course started touring. But I think if we would have toured before, you know, playing all this old stuff, maybe Masters of Moral would have sounded different. Maybe it would have not been like this at all. I think with this album you hear a bit more of the original sound, because we were just getting used to it again.
Finally, you recorded Smut Kingdom in 2006, but by 2007 the band split up again.
Again, yes.
Right. So you want to talk about the split, or you want to talk about the album?
Well,
choice.
The split is, I think I noticed that I think 7 years is our maximum that we can.
It's an interval.
Each other. So yeah, the album was finished, recorded, and then Then we broke up, and it's been shelved for 10 or 11 years almost, I guess. Yeah.
So it finally came out in 2018. You want to show it and say a few things about this record?
Well, this is probably my least favorite album. Not so much because of the music or anything like this, but the whole, you know, the whole connection with the breakup tainted it a bit for me. Also, it took so long, you know. So working, re-recorded some stuff in 2017 or whatever, and remixed it, and you mix in an album that is already past, you know. It's not like, you know, when you work on an album, it's fresh. Your mind is there. I wasn't there anymore.
The excitement was gone.
So yeah, the excitement is gone, so I'm not very fond of this album, although. Stuff on it, and we got to get some people guest star like Steve from the Mentors, even Lars from Entombed sang a little bit, and who else? Oh yeah, Camille from Massacre. So it's album is musically it's good, and it's just like a personal thing that I'm having.
So the breakup, what is it you guys disliked that the band stopped being a band?
It's personal stuff. You don't get along, you know. You start arguing, and then you just don't want to be around each other anymore, you know.
At this point, is there a personal relationship with ex-members?
Well, I'm talking to Alex when we have business stuff to do. Other than that, we don't have any contact. I have contact with most of the past members. I mean. There's no bad blood or anything.
Is there anything else anybody from the band is doing musically besides you?
Well, with now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Flo, our drummer, or soon to be ex-drummer because he's going to leave the band again. He has a band called Theodoxin. It is a black metal band. He's playing with other bands as well. And Jacek, Jacek is. I had to drag him out of retirement, so it's kind of unusual what he's doing. But he's enjoying himself, and I'm enjoying him being back in the band because it feels familiar, you know, even after 20 years absence. So
who makes up the current band right now?
Oh well, it's Jacek Berkowski. He's the bass player, the original bass player of the original lineup of Pungent Stench, and Flo Musil. He's the drummer. He's been in the band for 2 years or 3 years now, but he's leaving it again. So will be hopefully soon a new drummer.
Finally, when you look back at all you had achieved with Pungent Stench, what is it you're most proud of?
I'm not proud of anything. I mean, this is not who I am. I'm not. I had a good run, and I was privileged to have. I've been able to earn my money with my passion. So this is pretty much is. I hope some people got something good out of it. Not only like a party, but some people, I guess, also have helped them through hard times. I mean, it does help me sometimes. Music sometimes helps me through hard times, and so if this is the case, it's good. But other than that, there's nothing to be proud of, you know. It's just playing rock and roll, you know. That's the stuff that I would have done without getting paid anyway. You know?
But the band's legacy seems important to you, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now.
Well, no, I mean, yes. Well, the band's legacy. I mean, it's not my legacy. The band's legacy. It's my life, you know. It's my professional life. I'm doing this also to pay my bills, and this is what I did. This is what I know to do. Also, I mean, if you dedicate your life to playing in a band full time, you know, you don't have a career outside of this, you know. And what would you do otherwise? I don't know. Make some I don't know, like not a very high paid job, maybe some hard physical labor, you know. So this is my thing, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.